Hey YouTube, this is Tom from TM Aquatics, bringing you a quick video today on Substrate. Wanted to talk to you about 3 unconventional substrate options for your freshwater aquarium. Pool filter sand, safety zorb, and black diamond blasting sand. All 3 of these substrates share 2 things in common. Number 1, all 3 of these are extremely inexpensive. Number 2, they're all inert, meaning they are not going to alter the water chemistry of your aquarium. So let's look a little closer at each one individually, starting with pool filter sand. So the pool filter sand that I use is All-Star pool filter sand, and this can be purchased at Menards. And the nice thing about it is, number 1, I've got a Menards really close. Number 2, it's usually in stock. And number 3, it's very inexpensive. Now, one 50-pound bag of this at Menards runs about $8, and it's more than enough for a couple of smaller fish tank, or in this case, there's a full bag of it in this 40 breeder with my gold ocellatus. And you can see the depth of the sand. It's probably about 2 inches, because these guys like to excavate and move sand around. But let's take a closer look at the sand itself. So for reference on the grain size, I have some on a plate here with a penny, and I just wanted to show you what it looks like dry and size comparison in relation to the penny itself. You can see it's a pretty fine sand, very light in color, and very lightweight and easy to work with. Now, I've used pool filter sand in several aquariums over the years, and I've never had an issue with this. However, it does come with some cons. But before we get to that, let's start out with the pros. Again, number 1, pool filter sand is very inexpensive, about $8 for a 50-pound bag. It's inert, meaning it's not going to alter the water chemistry. It's very clean, not a lot of dust, doesn't need a lot of rinsing. Sometimes you can just pour it right in and fill the tank up. It'll be slightly cloudy, the water will be, but it usually settles within a couple hours. But a light rinse always helps. It's light in color if that's what you're looking for, and that's great with some fish. I used to have pool filter sand in my discus tank, so if you're not running a discus tank with a bare bottom, a good alternative is pool filter sand. It's light in color, so the discus will hold their coloring and they won't pepper up. So it does work great for discus. It works great for all catfish, nice soft bottom, and they like that. But a couple of cons. It's very lightweight. And when you do maintenance, if you're doing any siphoning, you can siphon quite a bit of sand up when you're doing a water change or doing your tank maintenance. And the other thing, because it's very light in color and because it's so fine, there's nowhere for poo and detritus to go. So every little piece of poo and detritus that's in your tank is going to show up. But that's also good because it allows you to see where you need to suck or siphon and do your maintenance. But overall, pool filter sand, I give it a 9 out of 10. So the next substrate alternative is Safety Zorb, and Safety Zorb is a montmorillonite baked clay product. And that is essentially the same material that's used to make Seachem fluorite. They're both a baked clay product. Now, a major difference between Safety Zorb and Seachem fluorite is cost. A 40-pound bag of Safety Zorb will run you about $7 at Tractor Supply, while this 15-pound bag of fluorite will run you $23 on Amazon.com. Now, there might be some minor differences between Safety Zorb and fluorite and some of the other baked clay substrates, such as where the material is mined from and the duration and temperature that they're kill fire dried at. But they're both essentially a baked clay product. Now, what are the pros of Safety Zorb? So I've already mentioned the first pro of Safety Zorb, and that's cost. Again, $7 for a 40-pound bag at Tractor Supply. One of the other pros of Safety Zorb is it's a high CEC substrate, and CEC stands for Cation Exchange Capacity. And what that means is the substrate has a high ability to grab, hold, and store ions and nutrients from your fertilizers for use by the plants. So when it comes to a planted tank especially, you want a substrate that has a high CEC capacity. The other pro of Safety Zorb is that it has kind of a nice natural look to it, a nice natural gravel look, which a lot of people find appealing. Safety Zorb, though, does come with a couple of cons. Now, I haven't experienced all these myself personally, but I just want to list what some other people have said. Number one, it is a dustier product. It is going to require more rinsing than a pool filter sand or a black diamond blasting sand. So just be aware that it is going to require a little bit of rinsing, but it's no more dusty than a fluorite product. Secondly, it is a lighter material, and some people have claimed that it's hard for them to get their stem plants to hold in the substrate. I've never found that to be the case, but again, just a word of caution on what some other people have said. And then others have claimed that it has crashed or killed their KH. Now, I've used Safety Zorb in the past, but I've never tested and monitored my KH when I've used it, so I don't know if that's true or not. So just a word of caution again, if you use Safety Zorb, test and monitor and adjust your KH accordingly, depending on what type of livestock you're keeping in the aquarium. So anyways, let's take a closer look at Safety Zorb. So here's some Safety Zorb on a plate, and for scale I put the penny back in. You can see it's a pretty decent size material, definitely significantly larger than pool filter sand, and very similar in size to like pea gravel and other types of aquarium substrates that you're going to find in your local fish store. Okay, so I've taken about a cup and a half or so, and I put in this little clear container. One of the biggest complaints that people have with Safety Zorb is just how dusty it is. So let's add a little water and let's just see for ourselves how dusty it is. We'll just mix it up a little bit. So I mean, it definitely has some dust coming off of it, but you know, I've used Safety Zorb in the past, and I never found it really to be actually any dirtier than like the Seachem fluorite. In fact, I found it to be somewhat cleaner than Seachem fluorite. I don't know if you can see that, the coloration, but very similar to fluorite. So anyways, for $7 give or take for a 40-pound bag, I think it works pretty good. Definitely a little dusty, but overall not bad. So this is my Planted 75 Endler's tank, and this substrate is a baked clay high CEC substrate, just like Safety Zorb. And you can see that the plants are doing fine in here, and you can see that root development on this dwarf sage down here. You know, they're loving the substrate. It works well, it holds the nutrients, and the plants are extremely happy and healthy. Okay, so the last one is black diamond blasting sand, and this is the 20 to 40 grit size medium black diamond, and this can be picked up at your local Tractor Supply. It's about $7 for a 50-pound bag. So that's one of the pros. Definitely very inexpensive. Some of the other benefits of this substrate, or using this as a substrate, is it's inert. So it's not going to alter the water chemistry in any way, shape, or form. It's very dark. So if you're going for that dark substrate, black background, black substrate, where you want the plants and your fish or your Neocaridina shrimp to pop, this is a great alternative. And then this stuff is going to last forever. Now, there are a couple cons that I just want to mention, and so use at your own risk. The first is there have been some people, and there have been some rumors on some forums that because it's a sharply cut, really hard substrate, some people have said that it's damaged the barbels of their Corydoras and their catfish. I've never really experienced that, but others have claimed that it's happened, so use at your own caution with cories and bottom dwellers. And the other one is because it's a hard and sharp substrate, it can easily scratch your aquarium if you get a piece in between your mag float and the glass, or your scrub pad and the glass. It can easily scratch your aquarium, but overall I think the pros far outweigh the cons, and that holds true with all three of these. Black diamond and pool filter sand also, let me just note, can be used in planted tanks as well, but they're usually used as a cap when you're going full Dustin's fish tank in a dirted aquarium. Because they're a finer material, they provide a great cap for your potting mix if you're going to do a dirted tank that doesn't allow the dirt to come up into the water column and seals it off nice and good. So anyways, let's take a closer look at the black diamond. Okay, so here's the black diamond blasting sand, and I have some on a plate, and again for scale I put the penny out there. So you can see there's a lot of finer, really little tiny pieces in there, and then there's some larger pieces. Nice dark color. To me, as far as the touch goes, it was pretty soft, although I did notice there's some longer pieces in there, and there were a few pieces that felt kind of sharp when I rubbed them between my fingertips. But overall, it's a fairly clean substrate, just like the pool filter sand, so very minimal rinsing is going to be required. But that's the black diamond blasting sand. So here's a small shrimp tank set up with a black substrate, and you can see how the green plants really pop against that black substrate. Now this isn't black diamond in here, although I wish I could go back and get a redo or take a mulligan on that, because at $7 for a 50-pound bag, I'll tell you what, it's much more affordable than fluorite black. So there you have it, YouTube fish keepers. 3 very unconventional and inexpensive options or alternatives for your aquarium substrate. All 3 of these will work in just about any type of freshwater aquarium application, with the exception of some shrimp. At a price point of $7 to $8 per 50 pounds, they're definitely worth considering. When you compare that to the professional aquarium branded substrates that might run you $30, $40, $50, or even $100 for one fish tank, I'll gladly try one of these and save my money for plants, fish, and shrimp. Anyways, folks, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please consider doing so. Hit the like button on your way out, and any questions or comments, please post below. And as always, thank you for watching, and until next time, we'll catch you later.